It's going to be over 100 degrees here in Canyon Lake this weekend, and the local real estate market is almost as hot as the weather. Here we are in the first week of August, and that means I have all the data to bring you your monthly market update report for the month of July 2023. Hey everybody, it's your friend Kyle Winn, and if you've never seen any of my videos, I help people just like you buy and sell homes in places like Canyon Lake, Menifee, Lake Elsinore, and other surrounding areas. Now, if you have any questions about real estate right now or after you watch this video, you'll find my contact information in the description for this video somewhere. Now, I'm extremely excited to bring you this market update report for Riverside County because not only are we going to talk about the local real estate market for July of 2023, but we're also going to compare that to the first 6 months of the year so we can really understand how this real estate market is performing, and we'll try to predict what may happen for the rest of this year. Before we dive into all the details, I want to remind you that real estate trends tend to be very local, which means that what I tell you here today might be much different than what you've been hearing depending on where you live or where you get your news. Now, if you get your real estate market updates from national news sources, they tend to describe the real estate market of the entire country as a whole, but the market here in Southern California might be very different than what's happening in Northern California or the Midwest or down south or any other area in the country. So it's very important to consider local data and trends if you want to be successful as a buyer or a seller in any market. I want to talk about the number of new listings hitting the market each month, which generally tended to increase over the first half of 2023 to its peak in May at about 3,100 new listings, but then this decreased to almost 2,500 new listings in July. Now, while an increase in new listings over the first half of the year sounds like a good thing given the very low inventory we've been experiencing, this was the lowest number of new listings that we've seen in the first half of the year here in Riverside County in well over 15 years. And if you've been trying to buy a home over the last few months, you may be having a hard time finding the perfect home because there's just not many homes for sale right now. Or if you do find a home you love, there's a good chance you're going to be competing with a couple other buyers for that same home. The number of monthly closed sales generally increased over the first half of the year to its peak in May at just over 2,600 closings, but since then has declined to just 2,027 for the month of July. Over the last 10 years or so, we would expect to see about 3,000 to maybe 3,500 or so closed sales per month for this time of year. Now, what if we compare this number of sales to the number of new listings over the first half of the year? Well, we know that the number of new listings is at somewhat of a record low, so it makes sense that sales are down as well. There's just nothing to buy if nothing is for sale. Now, another thing to point out is that the number of new listings is higher than the number of sales by 20 to 25%, which means we could see an increase in inventory as well as days on market, which is the amount of time it takes for a home to actually sell. The median number of days on market for properties here in Riverside County was 42 days in January and 44 days in February, which then has steadily decreased every single month to just 18 days in July. Now, I think it's fair to say that even though the number of home sales are down, homes are selling faster due to the fact that the number of new listings is at least at a 15-year low and declining. Now, for some perspective on the median number of days on market, over the previous 10 years or so, we would expect that number to be between 30 and 60 days. So at 18 days, homes are selling actually very fast right now. Now, I'm really excited to tell you about month supply in this market update because the month supply is how long it would take to sell all of the properties that are currently listed if no new listings came on the market, knowing the current buyer demand and the rate at which homes are currently selling. Now, back in January, we were at 2.9 months, and since then, the days on market has slowly declined to just 2.4 months in July. Now, we can make a lot of sense out of this number by understanding that the number of new listings is down and the median number of days on market is also down. So with fewer homes for sale and homes selling faster, the month supply will decrease. Now, the reason this number is significant is that it's one of the best indicators of how the real estate market is behaving. Now, I would consider a healthy, balanced market to have a month supply somewhere between 3 and maybe 5 or 6 months. But with the month supply at just 2.4 months and the median number of days on market as low as that is right now, we are still in a seller's market. Let's talk about one of the more popular topics for a second, Average sale price. Every year, the average sale price tends to peak between April and June, and it is not uncommon for that to decrease 5 to 10% over the following 4 to 6 months. Now, here in Riverside County, the average sale price was $636,000 to start the year off in January, which increased to this year's peak of $696,000 in May. And since then, the average sale price has quickly decreased to just $640,000 in July. Now, this is still higher than any time before 2022, but it is still an 8% decrease in just a couple of months. Now, you've probably heard that the springtime is the best time to sell a house, and this is exactly why. This is a trend that we see nearly every year. Now, we may expect the average sale price to decrease a bit more over the next few months, but if history repeats itself and we get that seasonal trend again, the average sale price will begin to increase again late in the year and into early 2024, especially if there's any relief with mortgage interest rates. Back in January, mortgage interest rates were in the low to mid 6% range for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, which has generally increased since then with a few dips along the way into the low 7% range in July. Now, I know a lot of you buyers out there wish you could have purchased a home when interest rates were 3% a couple years ago. Now, trust me when I say that that was something out of a fairy tale, and yes, a few people were able to take advantage of that, but keep in mind that it was not common to get an interest rate even below 5% until 2009 or 10 after the housing crash in 2008. So if you are looking to buy, talk to your lender or reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with a couple of great lenders who may be able to help you lower your interest rate or qualify you for a special loan program with some great incentives to help you afford to get into your dream home. Well, that wraps up my July 2023 market update report, and until the next market update, I recommend you keep an eye on two things. One is mortgage interest rates, and two is the month supply of active listings. If you keep an eye on these two things, you'll have a pretty good idea of where the market may be heading. But until then, if you have any questions or need any help buying or selling, please feel free to give me a call, text, or email anytime, and I will see you in the next video.